Yes, sir. My name is Joshua Feuerstein. I am a preacher of 20 years and I'm running for state representative here in House District 4. And while this will be a heated and contested race, I want to start off tonight with what Keith Bell and I have in common. And that is that we both married women far more beautiful than we are handsome. And so, you see my wife and 6 kids. Now, many of you have received phone calls or mailers, or you've heard people talk about the fact that I'm from California. So I want to start by telling you a story tonight. In 1981, I was born on a little ranch of a few hundred acres in California. We were in the Central Valley where I grew up, literally beating trees with a plumb so that we could harvest almonds. It was dairy farmers and almonds there in the Central Valley where I learned work ethic. But you see, in 1981, when I was born in what is now the horrific communist state of California, we were controlled by a Republican and conservative legislature. We had, for many years, a conservative governor. I mean, California used to be red, but now it is nothing more than a cesspool of liberalism and stupid ideas. And when people ask me why I'm running, I simply say this. As somebody that moved here first time in 2001 from California, I understand what it is to watch a state that was principled with red conservative values turn blue. And ladies and gentlemen, there is nothing more than the Democrats would love to do than to turn Texas blue, because this is the crown jewel of conservatism. And so when I was approached by Attorney General Ken Paxton only a few months after moving here to this wonderful, or a neighboring county there in Kaufman County in Forney, and they began to display to me the voting history of the incumbent in this race. And when nobody else would step up, I finally, a few days before filing deadline, decided and took it upon myself to step up and represent conservative values. Because, ladies and gentlemen, it started in California. And now 30, 40 years later, after it used to be conservative, it started with electing Democrat chairs. And unfortunately, the incumbent right now stood with Dave Phelan and elected Democrat chairs. And look, we're here tonight at Living for the Brand Cowboy Church. If you want to talk about living for the brand, that means that the man that is sent to Austin to represent you needs to vote your values, not have Dave Phelan's brand all over him, but needs to have the brand of the people in District 4. And so if you want to know why I'm running tonight, it's not because I even think that I am probably the one that's going to win. Reality is, it may take me 2 cycles, but I can promise you this, is that I will be the man that will have the loudest voice in the Texas legislature representing you and me and my family and the values that have made Texas great.
So that's 3 minutes, and we appreciate that. If you want to continue, of course, you can do it in the final.
Perfect.
The question, if you had to pick one bill to put all your efforts behind in the next legislative session, what would that legislation be?
Well, look, here is the reality. There is a plan to covertly take over America, and that is because our border has been nothing more than an invisible line that people have been walking across. And ladies and gentlemen, if we want to protect our First and our Second and all of the rights that were given to us by a Constitution, as videos have come out over the last few days, as they're interviewing illegal immigrants that are coming across the border, you know what they're all saying? I'm going to vote for Biden when I'm made legal. Ladies and gentlemen, the first thing that I want to do when I get to Austin is load up in my pickup truck with a shovel and cinder block and wet cement and go to Austin and say, it's time for us to defend the border. If we have to get militias, if we have to get men and women and go down there and do it ourselves, it's time for us to do that. Or if we do not have a border, we do not have a republic, and we do not have a nation.
How important do you feel it is to listen to the constituency and to adjust your votes according to what they say?
Well, it's funny that we're talking about adjusting votes, because a lot of people don't realize that Keith Bell actually holds the state house record for the most flip votes in the history of the Texas State House. 159 times he voted one way on the floor in the public eye and then changed his vote before, and then change your vote when nobody else is. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you this. We need someone in the Texas legislature that has a backbone and will truly represent. We're talking about other constituents. Only change your vote 4 to 5 times per session. Now let me just ask you this. Do you want your representative to represent Dave Phelan and all of the undercover Democrats, or do you want them to represent you and be able to stand behind their vote?
We have also some questions from the audience, and I'll read you one. Do you support breaking up large school districts so the school boards can be closer to the people they serve? Why or why not?
Well, look, I realize that this has been a very contested issue, and I will tell you this, is I believe, and allow me to explain, I believe in school choice. And I'm going to explain why. There's many people that say, well, but what about the public education system? Ladies and gentlemen, you see what's happening in the public education system. And now you're seeing mama bears all over showing up at school board meetings because they are shoving the LGBTQ agenda down our 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old children's throats. It is ridiculous. And so what I honestly believe is that we need to take free market capitalism and put it into the school system, which means this. It's your tax dollars, ladies and gentlemen. Your tax dollar. That's your money. That's your money that's being spent. So you know what? I think that you should have a say in your kids' education. If you want them to go to a charter or a private school, or if you want them to be homeschooled, I think that it is your right and your prerogative, because, ladies and gentlemen, the child does not belong to the state. They are not a ward or a prisoner of the governor. They're not a ward or prisoner of the Biden regime. They are your child, and you have the right to say where they go. And I believe that if you're going to pay tax dollars, then your tax dollars should go to where you want your child to be educated. And for my 6 children, I decided that myself as an entrepreneur and my wife as a good Christian godly woman, we're going to do the best job in raising our children and teaching them how to be servants of society.
And now, sir, you have up to 5 minutes for your closing statement.
Well, I realize that a lot of us want to get to eat, including me. So I will try to be short. But the reality is this, is when nobody was looking, that you see, I'm one of those people that believe that we're taxed too much. I'm one of those people that believe that it is unethical to wage war against its citizens with property tax. Now, I'm not up here tonight to tell you or promise you that in the first legislative session that we're going to totally end property taxes. But what if we started by ending property taxes for those that are 60 and over? People, tonight we're talking about bonds. You know, the only bond I like is James Bond. Because the reality is that a lot of people, through bonds, end up, it's told to us, well, it's just a penny or two. Yeah, but on every dollar. And over many years, what ends up happening is they tax us into oblivion. Now, my opponent actually voted to explore the option of having a mileage tax. Do you honestly believe that every single one of you, when you get in your car, should potentially have to pay a mileage tax? That is absolutely ridiculous. So I would actually I would propose this, is that you have a right to own your own home. You have a right to own the American dream. So when you turn 60 or you pay your home off, I don't think that you should ever pay a dime of property tax again, because it is your right to own your property. And I know I'll get a few amens on that. I'll say this as well. It's not just, there's so many deceptive things that are done in Austin. People say, well, why do we need to get rid of Democrat chairs? I'll tell you why we need to get rid of Democrat chairs, because they run cover for undercover Democrats that call themselves conservative. And what happens is a man could go and author a bill so he could take credit for it, but he knows that it will never pass the Democrat chair in the council and will never get to the House floor. This is why we have all of these different groups and PACs, especially in the conservative movement, that they call themselves the Texas State Rifle Association, or they call themselves the Right to Life. But the reality is this, is their entire thing is to give an endorsement to somebody that does not believe so much pro-life that they get endorsed by the real pro-life organizations or the real gun organizations. You know, it's funny because I'm a lifetime member of the NRA, and they asked me, why did you not fill out any of the surveys? I said, one reason. You supported Dave Phelan and Keith Bell, who was caught on audio saying that he does not believe that you have the right to carry openly. In fact, at his very own business, he has a 30-06 sign up, and he was caught on undercover audio saying, if you want to have a gun, leave it in your car because it's not allowed on my property. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time that we have somebody that's living for the brand. And I'm not talking about Dave Phelan and Austin's brand, but goes to Austin wearing your brand. And that's why I'm asking in this election that you would honor me by giving me your vote so that I can go and represent you. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.